for a second about our closing keynote, Carey Conley.
Woohoo!
I know. And I'm super excited to introduce you to her. I met her just being introduced because of the type of work I do and some things that she's gone through and what she does now for the younger adults, a little bit above me. I like do the teens and hand them to her. But her story is extremely powerful. She's not going to spend a lot of time on that, about that, but she was okay with me sharing this with you because it's one of these that takes like that tragedy where you take the tragedy and turn it into purpose, which is very important. About 10 years ago, Carey lost her husband to suicide. And then 3 years after that, she lost her son to suicide. So that's a little of the backstory, a little of the tragedy, a little of why she's in and does what she does. And, it's a big story in itself. But a little about Carey. She is a nationally recognized speaker, author, and an entrepreneur, specializing in helping team leaders and small business owners create game-changing visions for their lives and careers. She has built 2 successful businesses over the past 30 years and is clear that her vision and purpose is to help people make a bigger impact on the people they lead. Her personal story is full of extraordinary success and devastating tragedy, as we discussed. These experiences give power to her message and help others achieve what they never thought was possible. Her ability to help people create, develop, and execute rock-solid, bigger-than-life vision propels them to succeed in all areas of life, including self-love, financial prosperity, a healthy lifestyle, caring relationships, a strong family, supreme confidence, and team leadership. Known for her contagious passion, Carey's speeches, books, and workshops build self-empowering skills and create a community of support for people from all walks of life. The common bond is a desire to shed past and unknowns, the painfully personal and professional growth it takes to lead and leave a positive legacy. Welcome, Carey.
Yay. Woohoo!
I brought my own band club. Thanks,
She
Susie.
did. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. My props are going to stand the way I want them to. I'm good. Okay, I am so excited to be here, you guys, because this is so my jam. I mean, if you know me, I am all about vision. And I just want to thank Susie and all you guys for having me here today. And I'm thrilled that I get to be the last person of the day because I'm going to leave you guys with some homework. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to know, show of hands, how many of you feel like you have a really clear vision for your life?
A pretty one.
Okay.
'Cause I've worked with-
Keep your hands up. If I were to come around the room and say, hey, I want to see a written timeline vision in every area of your life, can you show me that? Keep your hands up. Yeah, I lose about, 80% of the room at that moment, right? So my job here in a very short span of time is 3 things. One thing is that I want to expand on the concept of vision, and I'll share a lot of my story and my experiences because I've been doing this unofficially for about 30 years. 2, I want to share 4 big reasons why my tagline and the title of my first book is called Vision is Victory. 4 things, 4 lessons that I've learned over the past 30 years as to why I can say vision fixes just about everything. And the 3rd thing I'm going to do is leave you with some homework. All right, fair enough?
Yes.
Okay, good. I know it's the end of the day, but work with me. So, and I like this to be really interactive because it helps me a lot. So I'm going to ask questions every once in a while so that I know you guys are following along. But I grew up in Denver, Colorado, and lived there the first 50 years of my life in a pretty normal, do all have normal families? I don't know, right? Somewhat normal family. And I grew up wanting to be famous, singer, actress, all the things. And I was very early on a visionary. I remember my first diary that I had. I titled on the cover Infinity, which most people who know this about me know this is my word, right? I envisioned, going to Malibu, going to Pepperdine University, being discovered, living on my beautiful beach house, all the things. And then two things happened at the end of my junior year of high school. My family thought it was super cute that I was singing and dancing in all the little high school shows. But they were very clear that I was going to go to college because nobody in my family ever had. And the second thing that happened is I started dating my husband, Ross, right? So off to college I go with my husband. Singing career, not happening. Acting, not happening. I got a business degree, like I was told. I got married, and off we went. And so my husband and I, after getting out of college, moved back to Colorado so we could be near our families because we knew that eventually we were going to start our own. And my husband went into corporate sales and did really, really well, very successful at it. I changed jobs about every 2 years because I just couldn't fit the 9-to-5 gig. Can anybody relate to that? Yes, probably all of us in this room. Yes. And you know what's so funny is this was the 80s, you guys. So this is when we were told that you get the degree, you go to work, and you work your way up the ladder, and that's just how it works. And so everybody in our world was doing that except for me. And so they all thought there was something wrong with me. Like, why can't you fit this mold? I'm like, I don't know. And I kept thinking maybe at the next job, I'll figure it out. Well, at job number 3, they hired a woman to come in for a personal staff development day. Her name is Nadra. And I don't even really remember what Nadra trained on, you guys. I just remember being so inspired by the woman and thinking, wow, I wonder if I could do something like that. And so I asked Nadra if I could take her to lunch. And on a beautiful sunny day, she's sitting across the table from me, and I'm telling her, you know, my frustrations. Why can't I make this work? Why am I not happy with this? And she said to me something that changed my life that day. She said, Carey, you are never going to fit this 9-to-5 gig. You aren't cut out for that. You need to go figure out what it is that you really want in your life and go create that. Light bulb, right? Nobody had ever said that to me before. Mm-hmm. And so I did what she instructed me to do. I took a day off of work, and with a legal pad of paper in a very quiet space, I sat down and started envisioning all the things I wanted my life to look like. In every area of my life, my family life, our marriage, where we were living, what kind of lifestyle we wanted. I wanted to do a lot of traveling, I knew that. I also knew that I wanted to work from home once we started having children. I wrote a lot about wanting to be involved in some sort of leadership role. So, and remember, I did not know the how, you guys. How many of you in this room need to know the how before you'll write your vision? You need a little blueprint? Okay. So, I just wrote. I wrote a lot of ideas, and I had no idea where it was going to come from. But I wrote some key things. Wanted to be in a company with female leadership. Wanted to become a really strong female leader. Wanted to earn 6-figure or more residual income. Earn some trips. All the things. And I also wrote, well, what would this industry be? Maybe skincare, question mark. Maybe health and wellness, question mark. My background at this point had been in sales and advertising, so I wrote that I probably would be a consultant, which I did for about a second. But on the last line of one of those pieces of paper, out of nowhere, you guys, I wrote that someday I wanted to teach vision creating and goal setting to other people. No idea. Now I know where that came from. So this is what started happening after that is we'd had our son, Cole, and I was still working full-time in the agency, and then 2 years later got pregnant with my daughter, Laurel. And I just wanted to quit my job so bad and get my son out of daycare. I'm going to get emotional. Pausing. So I got introduced to a company called Arbonne. Anybody familiar here with Arbonne? Okay. Yes. So it was like, bam, right in my face, right? Because it checked all the boxes, right? Skincare, leadership, trips, residual income, all the things. And so when I met the founder and the then president of Arbonne, who some of you probably know, her name is Rita Davenport, yes. I was like, oh, I'm so in. This is it. So immediately I jumped in with both feet, told the one and only Mercedes driving VP in the state of Colorado at that point, I'm going all the way to the top. Tell me how to do this. So here's the first lesson I want to share with you all. Do you ever get to a point where you are at a crossroads in what path and direction you want to go in your career? Yep. Yes? Yep. Most of the people that I've coached in the past, and most of the young adults that I'm now talking to, which I'm going to talk more about that later, are very much at a crossroads of am I really on the right path of what I want to be doing and what I'm really supposed to be doing? Because more times than not, like me, we got on a path that other people put us on. And I'm going to tell you, if you talk to young adults right now coming out of college, they come out and about a year later, they're looking around going, what am I doing? They're not happy. They don't know what to do about it. And then I talk to a lot of 50, 60-year-olds are like, okay, so I did this, now what? And so the first thing I'm going to tell you, having a very clear written vision helps you with, is clarity in your path of your vocation and your career. So when I would have a client come to me, most of them entrepreneurs, with all these different avenues they could go down, and they're asking me which avenue should I go, I can't answer that until I see the vision of the lifestyle they want. Is this making sense?
Yes.
Right? Like I told you guys, I had a lot of different paths I could have gone down, but those in the 9 to 5 didn't check the box. Being a consultant in advertising definitely did not check the box because there was never going to be any time freedom in that. But when Arbonne showed up and network marketing showed up, it was like, that's it. And to this day, you guys, when I get presented a lot of different paths to go down, I can point to my vision and it either becomes a definite yes because it aligns with where I'm going, or it doesn't. And ladies, more times than not, I'm going to tell you, it's a no. Anybody who's struggling with saying yes to too many things,
Not
right?
anymore.
So it became very clear. This is my path. This is what I'm supposed to do. Went into the company, jumped all in, got to the first rank very quickly in the company, pulled my son out of daycare, quit my job, and away I went. So while we were raising our kids, I earned the trips, residual income, the car, all the things. But at the same time I was building this business, busy lifestyle with kids, right? It got all the things, and balance was becoming a problem, and it was starting to affect my marriage. And so what I had to do was use my vision for the second lesson of why vision fixes everything, is it helped me set better boundaries with where I was spending my time and who I was spending it with. Do you know, when I use the word boundaries in front of groups of people, usually I can see a lot of people going, yeah, I got a real problem with that. I say yes to too many things. I can't say no. I don't know how to get out of things. I feel like I get my time under control at a certain point, and then I lose it, and I'm all over the map. And so again, you guys, whenever I'm presented something, before I say yes or no, I look at the vision, and I either look at it and use my boundaries and go, does this line up? And more times than not, it does not. Now, it doesn't mean that it's a forever no, because there are things that I really want to do right now, but I'm not doing it at this phase of my life and my business because it's at the wrong time right now. That was another big thing I learned working with a lot of entrepreneurs, is that they were doing all the right things, but not necessarily in the right timeline, right? Entrepreneurs, upside, we're super creative. Like Tish was saying, lots of ideas. We want to do all the things. Downside, we're super creative and we want to do all the things. What we have to learn is how to have boundaries and put timelines around things so that we're doing them in the right order so that we can sustain it and scale it and keep a life in balance. Any aha moments yet? Anybody shout out to me one thing you heard so far that you knew you needed to hear today? Say it loud. Alignment, okay? Put things in order. Say no. Great. Write the vision. Yeah. Right thing, wrong time. Yes. Sorry, say it again. Does it align with my vision? All right. So, do you see already the picture that I'm painting for you? Is that more times than not, we're still at the beginning of this year, right? Click, click, click. More times than not, we set goals, but they're not attached to a bigger picture. And so what happens when you don't have the vision written first, it's really hard to achieve a goal. You have to have the bigger vision first. And I'm going to talk to you, like I said, at the end about how to write one. Okay? So now you know. So I'm on this trajectory. I'm in Arbonne, rocking it, rolling, and loving it, and raising my kids. Awesome. And then when we became empty nesters about 12 years ago, I started thinking, I wonder if I could teach this vision stuff to other people, because the first thing I had to do with all the women that came into my team was write a vision. Because I knew that if they didn't write it, you guys, they were going to quit on me in 3 days. because entrepreneurship, especially network marketing, is really hard. Right? The very first people you run to, and this happened to me, thinking, oh, they're going to be so on board. They're going to order all my product. They're going to be on my team. We're going to go on trips together. And guess what? All my friends, this was the late 80s, early 90s. So remember, network marketing at that point was very taboo. So all of my friends were looking at me going, you're going to quit your job and sell lipstick? Even my husband, not a fan at all. But I had a bigger vision. For me, it wasn't about selling lipstick. I saw the bigger picture: leadership, affecting change, helping other women stay home with their kids and make money, right? So whenever I hit a wall that looked like it was going to take me down, and there was a lot. Anybody have days they just want to quit so bad they can't stand it? Mm-hmm. In Arbonne, we used to call them kit burning days. We're just going to burn that Arbonne kit and pretend we never heard about it. And at that time in the company, we had 13 products that came in a little burgundy bag, right? So what I want you to know, and this is another lesson, I'm going to throw this in as a bonus, is every time I hit a wall that made me think, do I really want this? I got up the next day, got in my office, and did what I needed to do, because the vision of what I wanted for me and my family was bigger. The key to consistency, you guys, getting through all the walls, is that you've got to want something so bad on the other side of it, you're gonna blow through it. This is key. All right, so raising the kids 12 years ago, decide I'm going to create some curriculum and start doing little workshops on vision. And so that's when I did my first workshop, and I think my 8 best friends came just to support me and pat me on the head and tell me I was really cute. But it worked. And so what happened is I ended up coaching a lot of mostly female service-based entrepreneurs, a lot of speakers and coaches, which I still do. Because what they were doing is running a business, but they were really essentially running what I would call a wing and a prayer kind of plan. No vision, no direction, I'd ask them, okay, what's the timeline and what's your revenue goals? They're like, I don't know. I don't have that. So I started speaking and coaching, and it took off really quickly. Unfortunately, during this time is when I lost my husband, and that just, of course, rocked our world. My son, at that point, had just accepted a job to work here at Channel 12. He just graduated from college. And my daughter was going into her junior year of college. And so I can't go too much of the story here today because I just don't have the time. But you can imagine what this did, right? Gratefully, what also happened at the time is that I had just signed on like 12 new clients. And so after we got through the memorial service and I got my son here to start working, I started traveling a ton and coaching all these people. And so for the next 3 years, I ran year-long business coaching masterminds. Kept me super busy because I had 2 groups in Denver, so I was still going back to Colorado. I ended up falling in love with Arizona and buying a house here. Side note, I tried to live in Oklahoma the past 2 years because that's where my daughter's now living. It did not work out for me. I'm back in Scottsdale. And so that was great. And our kids and I kind of figured it out. And then unfortunately, 3 years after losing my husband, I lost my son. So the biggest question people ask me is, how in the world thanks for holding space. So biggest lesson I want you all to come away with. When you have a vision that is huge, it becomes the anchor in all the storms. Anybody else been through some tough stuff? Yeah. And so it's at that moment you figure out, okay, I'm either going to let this take me down or I'm going to use this as fuel and come back. So the year after we lost Cole, I kept working with the clients that I had because I felt, of course, obligated them. They had a year contract with me. But I stopped slowly bringing clients in because I had a feeling that there was something different that I was supposed to be doing. And so I kind of took a year and went inward, did a lot of journaling, Bible study, long, quiet walks. I pulled away from all my network, all of this, and I just had to kind of grow and figure out, okay, how am I going to step into this next thing? Does any of you feel that sometimes where you just know, okay, I got to give myself some space? Because either the thing I've been doing, like my business coaching worked really, really well for a long time, but I just knew that it was time for me to expand and use what I have, right? So, so now when I talk about vision, it has nothing to do with like it was when I started Arbonne. Remember I told you my vision was to stay home, get my kids out of daycare, build the residual income, earn the trips, all the stuff. Did that. It was also my vision to help a lot of women stay at home, make a lot of money. Did that. Help entrepreneurs start launching their businesses and make money. Did that. But I know now the bigger reason is because we've got a serious epidemic going on. And so now when I speak, a lot of you, if you follow me, you know this. So I'm everywhere, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I have a podcast that I launched last fall that's also doing very well. And so the past 2 years, I've been telling people, I really think I'm supposed to do something for young adults. And when I say young adults, I'm talking early 20s to early 30s. And I don't know if you all know this. I think there's a few of you in the room that are in that age group. Or how many of you are parents of young adults right now? Okay, so do you know the people that come to me the most right now are the parents of the young adults? Seriously, they're out, I get messages every day. I've got a young adult at home and I'm seriously frightened for them. They're drifting, they're not happy, they're isolating. Do you know they're the loneliest generation we have right now statistically? This scares me. I talk to them a lot, and they really like me for some reason. I don't know what that is. And what they tell me, I will tell you. So in the podcast studio, we have a 21-year-old working in there now. His name is Ethan, which I love because that's my son-in-law's name. I asked him one day in between interviews, I said, so tell me what's going on with your generation. You know, what's happening with you guys? And he said, absolute stress, mostly about money, huge amount of pressure on them, most especially around their careers and what they're supposed to do with the rest of their life. They are scared to death to go in any direction at all because they fear two things. Number one, if they get on a path they're not supposed to be on, they can't get off. Or two, they're going to get on a path where they're going to fail and they can't be perfect at it. What else did he tell me? A lot of relationship issues, toxic relationships they don't know how to get out of. And the last thing he said to me, you guys, I'm going to interview him next Friday on my podcast. He said, I feel like I'm starting my life in a hostile environment. This would make sense, wouldn't it? Right? So there's so much going on with them, and there's so much focus on teens and kids right now, which thanks to people like Susie have built programs are bringing into the schools. But nobody right now is really paying attention to this 20-year-olds right now. And they're drifting, and it's scary. The statistics, okay, I can't say it. The stats, say the word for me, Colleen, is huge and getting higher, and the ages for suicide is dropping, you guys. I Googled this a couple of years ago while I was on the airplane, and it starts now at age 5, right? So here's why I'm saying all this to you, is that I am very clear now, all these years I've been getting prepared for this, right? And so I'm getting ready to launch a group mentoring program, most especially for the parents of the young adults, because I have to start with them. Because shocker, most of them are drifting, don't have a vision, and they need to be the example, right? And then eventually, probably by fall, I will have a program in place for the young adults to start working with them as well. So the last lesson I've learned about vision is it became very clear to me what God's plan was for me. And it's about making an impact. How many of you guys know at the end of the day, all you want to do when you leave this planet is leave a legacy and know you made a difference? Yep. It's human common denominator. That's all we want. We all, you know, we don't have to worry. None of us in this room, I'm sure, are not worried about putting food on the table, roof over their head, all the things, right? What we're thinking about now is how do I affect change? Last lesson is you cannot make an impact or influence other people if you have a wishy-washy vision. You just can't. When I launched Arbonne, you guys, I could not recruit the women that I did if I'd said to them, hey, I don't know where I'm going with this Arbonne thing. I'm going to try it out. See, you want to come along? Let's see how we do. I had to sit them down and go, okay, here's what I'm doing. I'm getting here in the next 90 days to get my son out of daycare and stay home with my baby because she was coming in 3 months, right? Here's where I'm going the next 3 years. I'm going to get to this rank because we want to put the kids in private school. So I knew where I was going, and I knew the system because I learned from the one and only Mercedes driving woman in the state of Colorado what to do. And so they came. They're like, I get your vision, right? So if you are somebody in this room that you know you want to make a bigger impact and you need to make a bigger influence on the people that you want to follow you, you've got to have a really clear, powerful vision. All right, so the 4 lessons that I shared with you guys is, number 1, it'll give you clarity in the direction of your career, your vocation. 2, it's going to help you set better boundaries. How many of you know that this alone will just make a big difference, right? 3, it will be the anchorage in all the storms that you go through in life. All the rejection I went through in Arbonne. But the woman who sponsored me in Arbonne was my best friend from high school, and 1 year into me doing the business with her, she died instantly one night. Just went down, 2 little girls and a husband, right? A lot happened while I was working that business. And the personal growth alone will kill you, literally. So the last thing I want to share with you guys, how much time do I have? Oh, wow, okay. So I am so glad because we're going to do some work. And this is my favorite part. So I want you guys, if you can, write. If you have something to write on, use your phone or whatever. This is the exercise that I've given to thousands of people that has changed a lot for them. And how many of you guys have written visions in the past? I mean, some of you said you did, right? So what I do is a little bit differently, and this is where I really love to get interactive. And because I have time, I'm actually going to get you to write some things in a few minutes. So I want you at the top of the piece of paper, your phone, whatever, write the date as if it's 3 years from today. So somebody tell me what that would be. March 2027. March 6, 2027. Okay, after the date, write how old you will be on that date. Usually in rooms of women, I hear, ugh. Okay, then it gets even harder. Write how old your kids will be 3 years out. Or grandkids, nieces and nephews if you're really involved in their life. And also the older people in your life, your parents, if they're still around, how old will they be, grandparents? Okay, so how does everybody feel when I ask you to put a date on a piece of paper and actually see ages? Shout it out to me. I'm sorry, what's the word? Old, yes. What else? What's the word? Pressure, okay. Thank you. Definite. It's non-negotiable, you guys, right? Like, if we all agreed we're going to come back 3 years from today in this room, we will be 3 years older, so will the family members, and 3 years goes like that. All right? How many of you already, when I ask you, especially ages of your family members, are seeing some life shifts coming? Right? Remember I told you that I started Arbonne when my son was 2. I was 5 months pregnant with my daughter. And so when I looked ahead 3 years, I already saw preschool going into school. And so that meant, because I knew that we wanted to put them into private school, what that was going to cost. And so that gave me 3 years. I could reverse engineer that income goal into what I needed to do to start that trajectory. So a lot of times when I get people to think about ages, especially around their kids, especially still if they have kids at home, they start seeing college coming, their kids getting out, starting their lives, huge shifts, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I remember being at high school graduation going, what just happened? It just goes so fast. So it gives you a point to start looking forward to. And so what I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do, because we have the time, I want you to think in the 7 key areas of your life, and I'll give you the 7. Your faith or faith life, whatever that means to you, community, your family, friends, fitness and health, finances, your field, which is your career, and fun. How many of you guys need more fun in your life? Yeah, for sure. Okay, so here's what I want you to do for me. I want you to put yourself, fast forward 3 years from now. You are that age, your family members are that age. And don't overthink this. Just whatever comes off the top of your head in any of those areas. It doesn't matter, right? This isn't, don't make this perfect. I want you to just write out what you envision your life looking like as if you are at that 3-year mark from now. Does everybody understand the assignment? Okay, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do that. Just whatever you want. Make it your own. Okay, go ahead and stop. So, tell me how you're feeling. Shout out words to me really quick. Excited? Big, loud, so I can hear you. Focused. Thank you. Hopeful. Love that.
I love that very much.
Bold.
Well, we're on our last question. And kind of like the first panel, I'm going to ask you all to keep it to about a 1 minute answer.
Oh,
so we can
old.
wrap up.
Yeah, I know, Colleen.
But,
right?
Tell us about what
Any
you
other
see
grandparents in the
future of
room?
women in business
Grandparents?
as it
Oh my
pertains
gosh,
to
whole game changer.
becoming more
I didn't say this
inclusive,
earlier, but my daughter,
more
a
diverse,
year after my
and
son passed, got
more
married.
economical or
Unfortunately, they stayed in
entrepreneurial
Oklahoma City where they
ecosystem.
went to
So where do you
college.
see us
I
being
can't get
able
them
to
out of there.
really
I've
make an
tried.
impact so that we
And now I have 2 little
a more
boys,
diverse
so I go back there on a regular basis.
business and,
What else?
and
How
really
else are you
we're able
feeling?
to impact
Anything.
the
Tell me
world
anything.
From our positions.
Excited, inspired, blessed. I love that. So a lot of times when I ask people to do this in a workshop, if I sometimes do all full day workshops, I give them a full hour to write everything out in great detail. What I had you do was just like a bubble to get you started. What I hope you will do is take that and write in more detail, right? Like I told you, I wrote my first vision. I still have it, by the way. I wrote a lot of detail. Not knowing what I was doing then, which we all know now, I was basically like manifesting Arbonne into my life and following God's will, right? Because he knew what was coming for me. So prepared me for 30 years to get to this point. But there was a lot of times people will tell me when I ask them how you feeling, they will give me scared, don't know how, because of their circumstances they're in right now. Doubt, don't feel worthy, don't feel they deserve it, especially if they're already super blessed. Why would I ask for more, right? I just really want you to know, you guys, that vision will pull you through everything. Literally just about everything, because I'm living proof of that. And so what will happen now is I want you to take this, and I hope you will take the quiet time to do this, is to write out in great detail a letter to somebody as if 3 years have passed. Let's say you left here, like Tish and I leave here today. We don't talk in 3 years.
For 11 years
and
now.
I decide
And COVID, I
to
know,
sit
made
down
it
and
mandated and
write
cool.
Tish a letter saying,
But
girl, you're not going to believe what's happened the past 3 years.
Navigate
Right?
that
And so
to
I'm giving
their
her all the
advantage.
details. This is where we're living
Yes,
now. This is
if
what
you
I've done the
still
past
have
3
kids
years.
at
This is
home
where I've
and
traveled
you still
to.
do
The more
drop-off
detail
and
you
pick
give
up
this,
and
the
all of
better, you
that,
guys. And
you
2
can
rules.
have
1,
your
don't leave
flex
anything
time
out
and
because you
leverage
don't see
technology.
how.
Leverage the home
Miracles
office,
happen
which
when you
allows
do
to
this
leverage
stuff.
taxes. Talk to your CPA,
Again,
not
lots
me.
of clients I've walked through this.
But
They write the
it's one of
vision.
those
They tell me,
things
I don't see
that
this happening for like another 5 years.
If you don't know what you don't
6 months
know, you
later,
gotta
they're
keep
coming to me
learning.
going, I can't
And
believe
am
what's
a
happening right
continuous
now.
learner. Like my son goes
it's
to
amazing.
a charter school,
And the second thing is to
47
watch your
minutes from home
words.
without bad traffic.
Don't
So
use words like
3 to
I'm
4 days
trying,
a
I'm
week,
hoping.
I
Those
have
are
2
wishy-washy.
hours of podcast
Right?
time,
I
or audible
am,
time,
I have,
so I'm
I've
always
done.
learning, and then I'm
I
voice-clipping my
love
team and saying, hey, what about
hearing
this? Hey,
people's
what about
visions.
this? That's where you
So
get
I
your
have
brain
a
to
couple of gifts for you.
But
One is,
there is
so
so
this is my
much
first book. I told you it's a
knowledge
workbook.
out
It's
there
literally a guide
that
to
you
help you
can
write out your
consume
vision
it
more
via
detail.
YouTube, via
And I have a
Audible,
downloadable
via
version that I want to give
whatever,
you,
maybe
and I
even
want you to
osmosis
write down
if
how to
you're not,
text it to get it.
But immerse yourself
So
in
you
it,
text
and
the word
then help
victory all in
others
caps
get to the same point. We all have
to
different levels of what our
26786.
life looks like.
26786.
And I want you to really design
That'll
your
help
life.
you
Don't
not
live it
only
by
write the
default
vision,
just
but it will
because
also
that's the way it's supposed to be.
properly tell you how to take the vision and
get to
set
design
some
it.
real goals.
For those of you who are married,
26786.
remember the men may be the head of the household, but the
Victory all in
woman's the neck.
caps.
And guess what? We control where they look
Right.
and how things are done. So
I hope that you guys will
that's your
start following
power.
along
You're the
with
neck.
me
Make
everywhere,
sure
Facebook,
what
Instagram, all
you
the
guys
things as I
want
get
is
ready to
your life.
launch this group mentorship program. Very, very focused on helping parents of young adults right now because they're coming to me like crazy. Please help
I
me.
agree
I'm
that
scared.
today,
What do I
I just
do?
think women have a
So that I can
really
start working with them and
strong
start working
point
with
in
the
being
young adults
recognized.
pretty
We've
soon.
been, pushing for this for years.
My podcast right now
There's
is called
so
Moving
many
Through and
women's
Beyond.
groups that we can that we can be
We're
part
getting ready
of,
to, I'm going to announce this
that
here
help
today.
us all grow together,
We're getting ready to
learn
change the
together. I
name
don't
to
think
mental
men have this
mental
many
health for young
options.
adults.
And I also think, the
Yeah,
salaries are
super
coming
excited
up, the
about that.
positions where, we've got women running for president, we got a vice
That's
president.
the other thing I was going to tell you guys.
So
I did
just-
co-author a book
really
with my
think that
daughter,
this is our
Laurel,
time,
and it's called
just
Keep
it
Looking
going,
Up, and I
keep it
brought
open,
some
and
with me today.
I honestly think there's got to
If you
be.
want to come
I
get
hear
one of
from
those for
some,
me,
we
I have
don't
that
we
for
don't
you.
have all these
So
men
again,
of the
thank you
year
guys for
awards. We
letting
don't
me
have
share
all
my
these,
story. I hope this
yes, they have
did this
different
help
groups,
you
but they're
today.
different types, but I think
Yes.
ours are
Okay.
learning how to
That's
stay
all
on
I care about.
top of
Yes.
what's going on.
And
So
if
I
you
think
write the
just really
vision,
this is our
please
purpose.
send it to me in an email because
Who
I
got
would love to set
something
up a
today
call
from
and
our
hear more
panel?
about it and help,
Yes,
see if
would
I can
you
kind of help
please
you
give them a
guide
big
along.
hand?
So
Thank
you,
you all
Susie. I
so
appreciate you
much
so
for
much.
being on this
And thank you
panel. You
guys.
had such
I
great
appreciate it.
information.
Hurry up quick, El Jefe's coming soon. Sit up straight when she enters the room. Be enthused, but don't look too amused. This is her queendom, please respect her rule.